Welcome to Dodge Brothers. I'm really excited because today I'm going to begin to answer the question that I have been asked by far the most times since I started posting videos on YouTube about farming. And that question is, how can I get into farming? How can I start farming? That's coming up next. Hey there, thanks for turning down my road. If this is your first time here, my name's Carl, and you've picked the perfect time of year to come ride along. My little brother and I both work for local farmers full time, but we both also farm together with our cattle herd and our hay operation. Everybody's involved, from the smallest to the biggest. If you don't have the joy of farming yourself, I'd love to help you experience it through this channel. Whatever your background, you found the right place. This is Dodge Brothers Farm and Ranch. Usually when I get asked this question, it comes in two different forms. Form number one is something like, I have no family history of ag, I wasn't born on a farm, I have no experience, but I'm excited about farming, I'm learning about farming, and I don't know where to go, I don't know where to get started to get that experience and get my foot in the door. Or it'll be something along the lines of, I grew up on a farm, my grandpa had a farm, I have a farm background, but the family farm is either gone or it's so small that it can't support a full-time living for me, and I don't know where to go from here. I'm passionate about farming, but I don't know what to do. The high cost of land and machinery and livestock can seem quite overwhelming even to those with an ag background and a family history of farming. But to those with no experience and no background in agriculture, it can seem almost impossible. But you don't have to have all those things in place to get into agriculture. The first step is to get around agriculture and to get around people who are involved in it. So today we're going to cover part one of this question. People who weren't born into any ag at all, no agriculture, no farm in their family, what can they do to get started? Where can they go? Now, I could answer this question, but I don't feel all that qualified because I was born on a farm. We'll talk a lot more about me and my story in the next video. But today, I have 4 friends that I want to let answer this question for me because they didn't come from an ag background and they found their own way to get into farming. One of the things that YouTube has done for me is it's allowed me to build friendships with people all over the world who are sharing their farm lives online as well, and one of those people is Meredith Bernard from North Carolina. Now Meredith calls herself a farm wife, and she is, but farm wives are just as much farmers as their husbands are. I've seen this firsthand and I know it's true in her case as well. So I'll let her tell her story now.
Hey y'all, I am so excited to be here and to be able to share just a little bit about my story and how I got where I'm at and what I'm doing, and hopefully encourage and inspire you. Words are sometimes hard for me, but a lot of times they come out too fast and too long, and I've got to make this short and sweet, so I'm going to try. It is loud out here on my porch. I'm sorry, the birds are really chirping. But the light is better out here, so this is where I am going to stay. My name is Meredith Bernard. I am a farm wife, a farm mama to 2 children, Wesley and Austin, ages 11 and 9. Well, 3 if you count my dog Bonnie, who's over there eating her supper. I live and work on a beef cattle farm with my husband Lawrence and our 2 children, but I was not raised on a farm. I like to say I got here as fast as I could, but I had no clue that this is where I would end up. I went to college at NC State University. I studied animal science, and when I got out, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I had no clue what I was going to do. I enjoyed my schooling and I loved everything that I did, but I didn't know what I was going to do with it. So as it turns out, I ended up going into feed sales. So for 10 years, I sold horse and cattle feed for a regional feed company, and I loved it. I loved every single minute of it until the day that I had 2 small children, a husband working on the farm and right by himself. We have no hired help, and it just got to be too much. The corporate world got to be a little too much for us. So I took a very huge leap of faith with my husband's support, and I came home. And what I realized when I came home was that I had these other passions that I didn't know I had. I had a passion for photography and for writing, and as it turns out, for doing videos. So one thing led to another. I did my photography on the farm that helped pay some bills. And then I started sharing my life through words, through a blog. I just started a free blog on WordPress. And then I started making some videos, and I found that that was a completely different avenue for me to be able to share our farming story with the world. And it has opened so many amazing doors. I now have a YouTube channel that's growing, and it's drawing income and helping support our family in a different way that I never saw coming. And I think the best part about what I do through sharing words, through writing, because I still do writing, I do some freelance writing for some magazines. I still share a lot on social media through Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And what I found is that I love to share and encourage people to understand that their story matters. Your story matters. I'm talking to you, the person watching this right now. No matter how old you are or how young you are, your story matters. I would encourage you to follow your heart, follow your dreams. I am a huge dreamer. My husband is more of the realist. I'm the dreamer. But he has supported me, and I have found that by taking these other avenues and finding ways to really express myself and to share farm stories to life stories and how all of that relates, that people can relate. I believe we can all relate to each other so much more than we ever realize. The more we share, the more we realize that. So I encourage you, if you are the least bit interested in anything agriculture, to go out there and pursue it. And don't let anybody tell you that it can't be done. If you want to farm, there are ways. If you want to be involved in the agricultural industry, there are tons and tons of jobs and things that you could do that all go back to agriculture. Agriculture is important. We need people in ag because we all have to eat. We all have to be clothed. Yes, we do. So I have a huge passion for agriculture and for helping other people be encouraged and to just know that your story matters and what you're doing matters and what you're going to do matters. So I wish you nothing but the best. Feel free to look me up online. I am at This Farm Wife. You can find me you can Google This Farm Wife and you'll find me. I have a website, thisfarmwife.com. That's also the name of my Instagram, my Facebook, my YouTube, all those things. So find me, connect with me. I'd love to hear your story and help you any way I can. Best wishes. Teamwork makes the dream work. It keeps the farm going.
Thanks a lot, Meredith. That was great. I hope her story encouraged you to explore your interests and not be afraid to try something that you're passionate about. Up next, we're going to hear from Keegan Zimmerly, a friend of mine from my hometown that I've known since he was a little boy. I was talking to my buddy Keegan Zimmerly. Him and I have known each other forever. He goes to our church, his whole family does. And Keegan doesn't come from an ag background, but he found his way into a pretty cool job in high school.
My name's Keegan Zimmerly, and I just graduated, so I'm 18 this year. And for the past year and a half, I've been working for a farmer doing chores. Started out doing chores and just hanging out, learning, and I ended up moving up to running the grain cart, and I can run pretty much every piece of equipment on the farm. So I did not come from an ag background. I actually lived in the country for a little bit, and then we moved to town here in about 5th grade. 9th grade year, I decided to join FFA, and it was probably the best decision of my life. I got connected with a farmer who was a janitor at school through another FFA member who worked for him, and that's how I sort of took off in the farming field, hanging out at his place, learning, and as I kept going, he saw I could work for him good and do stuff. And on the farm, I really liked to drive the tractors. The grain cart was probably my favorite thing to do in the fall, running around in the field, going road speed, catching up to the combine, and then dumping as fast as I could and running back. And running cattle is also fun, learning how to AI and give shots and administer vaccines, learn how to point out sick calves or calves that might have a wound on their leg we need to treat is also fun to learn and do that. So I plan to go to college in Iowa State for 4 years and major in biology. And in Iowa State, I'd like to try and find a farmer to work for, especially because I enjoyed working for Rick so much. I think it'd be a great job to work for. And after Iowa State, I plan to go to Kansas State for 4 years for exotic vet. So I'll be working with lions, tigers, elephants, and giraffes. Well, my advice for you is if you're still in high school and you have an FFA club, to join it, or a 4-H club. They're great spots. You can get help from many people. They can show you people that need help or that, might just let you hang around for a little bit and learn. Otherwise, drive around and you find a farmer in the field, just say, hey, I'm looking for something to do. Can I work for you? Do you need some help? Do you know someone who needs help? Because a lot of times farmers will know who needs help and who doesn't need help, or who just had like a high school student work for them and they went to college and they could be looking for someone to replace them. So you'll find something in there if you think agriculture is the way to go. You'll find something for you. Just keep looking.
So hey Keegan, thanks a lot for doing this and being a part of this video. I really appreciate it, and I hope everybody enjoyed watching your story. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
You know what Keegan's doing is almost the same thing I'm doing. Operating large equipment, growing corn, taking care of cattle. It looks a lot like us here, but there's a whole different world of farming. We're going to travel to the West Coast and talk to Brenae Royal right now, and she has a whole different type of agriculture story.
Hi everyone, I'm Brenae Royal, vineyard manager for Monte Rosso Vineyard, working under the E&J Gallo Winery. I got my start in my career a week out of graduation from Chico State, and while I totally have a passion for farming and love it, I didn't actually grow up in a traditional farming family. My family is predominantly teachers and doctors, but my grandmother growing up had this amazing garden, and I loved being outside, loved getting my hands dirty, and figured out early on that agriculture is one of those industries that will be forever. People gotta eat and people gotta have clothes on their backs. So around the age of 12 or 13, I was introduced to FFA, Future Farmers of America, and that's when I took off. I started raising pigs. I would ride my bike out to the local farm that allowed me to keep my pig there. I would show them at the farms and at the fairs, and actually wanted to pursue animal science going into Chico State. However, I quickly learned I didn't really have what it took to go down that route. So I switched to crops and horticulture science and ended up graduating with that degree. And in my last year, I started drinking wine and realized I loved what it took to craft a wine, everything from the actual science of farming and the art of crafting a product like wine. So I would say for any students that don't come from, your stereotypical traditional farming family, don't let that hold you back. Your passion will speak volumes. And as long as you're passionate about being a steward of the land, farming for others, whether it be animals, whatever crop it may be, go do it, because it's such a rewarding experience. I mean, every day I get to wake up to the vineyard, and you're always going to have these different challenges, whether they be weather and things happening in the field, whether it be people. I know for me, I've always had people not expect to see my face when I introduced myself as the vineyard manager, and I've never let that hold me back. I think one of the most important things that I've had are mentors. So people like me, non-traditional, helping me just kind of voice some of the things that I'm going through and giving me knowledge and advice as to how to move forward. Because there's always going to be naysayers. There's always going to be your own self-doubt and imposter syndrome, but you can overcome that. Farming is one of the most important things that everyone needs, and it's something that the people who do it are passionate for. You will not get rich being a farmer. However, that's just monetarily. I am richer than I could ever be, because the place I call work doesn't feel like work, and I want to be here. I want to be a steward of the land, and I'm crafting a product that's going to live a lot longer than me, and most people can't say that. So I hope I've been helpful. Please reach out. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this project, and I wish you guys all of the best. Thank you.
Wow, what a cool story. Thanks for sharing, Brenae. That was really great. I hope what you took away from her story was the importance of finding mentors. You need to find someone who's doing what you want to do and who's doing it well, that you can get close to and maybe offer them a helping hand and learn from them, because they've been through a lot of the pitfalls that you're headed for, and they can help you along the way and maybe make some connections for you to get your foot in the door to get started somewhere. All right, the last person you're going to hear from today is another family friend of mine, someone I've known since they were a little kid, and somebody who I'm really proud of what they're doing now. From my hometown, Brianna Kremer. Hey y'all, we're here trespassing at the fairgrounds in the hog barn. I want to interview my friend Brianna, who I met at church when she was just a really little kid. Her family went to our church for a long time, and she has a really cool story about how she got into ag, even though her family had no ag background as she was growing up.
I'm Brianna Kremer. I work for Hansen's Dairy in Hudson, Iowa. Basically, I wake up in the morning and milk the cows, and then I go and check heats, and then I'll take care of calves. I'm working on AIing right now, trying to get into that. So I didn't grow up on a farm. I grew up in a family of 10. So we lived in town. My mom homeschooled us, and I've just always been interested in animals. And my friend Carl got me into it. He took me to his farm, and he taught me everything I needed to know about a hog confinement and how it all works. I learned about growing corn and how it's all harvested and stuff, and I joined 4-H. I would buy pigs, and I kept them at his farm until it was fair time, and then we'd bring them to the fairgrounds, and I'd spend the week with them, and I just loved it. I love being around the whole agriculture theme. So then I graduated high school, and I started working at a hog confinement for Pipestone. I didn't like that. So then I moved to Cedar Falls, and I got a job with the cows. So just trying to get all of that under my belt, learning about each animal. I tried training horses for a little bit, and that wasn't for me. So I think cows are my passion. Look in the newspaper for ads. There's always people looking for help. Honestly, and you don't even have to have experience. They prefer if you don't, because they want to teach you the way they want it done. And that's honestly, it's the best. It's better for you and for them that way. So if you're ever in the area of Hudson, Iowa, check us out, Hansen's Dairy. We do tours. You can come and milk a cow, make your own butter, feed kangaroos. We do have that option as well. Doesn't matter where you're from. There's always somewhere that'll have a farming experience for you and your family where you can go and tour and see what they do. So support the farmers.
Well, hey, Brianna, seriously, thanks for taking part in this. It was really fun interviewing you in the hog barn at the fairgrounds where you got your start with livestock. I don't know if it was that pen or that pen that your pigs were in. Yeah. That one back there. Anyway, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed Brianna's talk. Cheers from us and my glass of ice water. Thanks, guys. Hey, I really hope you enjoyed hearing from my friends telling their ag stories of how they got started with no experience and no background. And I hope that maybe from listening to their stories, you have a small idea in your mind now of something you could do as a first step to reach out and get to know someone and maybe find somebody that could help you figure out what your next step after that would be. Hey, make sure you tune in next time. I'll tell more of my background of how I got from where I was as a kid growing up on the farm to where I am today in ag. And you'll hear from some more of my friends and hopefully be able to answer the question for some of you who have an ag background but don't have the resources to go anywhere right now and you don't know what to do. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.